And so I'm here with the Chief Minister, Alf Cannan. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
All getting ready for the Island plan to go to Tynwald?
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything you can tell us about that yet, or are we still waiting for it to be published?
Well, it will be published this afternoon. It will go on a supplementary order paper. Obviously that will make it a public document, and I look forward to a healthy debate in Tynwald on Tuesday.
So we're looking forward with the Island plan. We're also looking forward to Chamber of Commerce this week has published the results of a survey that they did, which said that 67% of their businesses who responded said they want the ending of testing and isolation for COVID. Now obviously everybody wants that.
Yes.
But how likely are we to see it in the short term?
Well, first of all, I think we are in a reasonably positive situation in terms of how we are managing the overall Omicron variant. We expected cases to be high. We've gone from a peak of 2,800, I think today, approximately about 1,750 people in isolation, which I think is good news. The indicators are moving in the right direction, and I think we need to see that continuing for the next couple of weeks or so throughout January. It is also important that we start to plan now on the basis of what we know about Omicron, its effects, its impacts. And another piece of positive news has been the impact on the people going to hospital with COVID.
Yeah, people have pointed to that we had high numbers of cases, but we had quite a low number of people in hospital. Yeah,
that's correct. And as it stands today, we've got 10 people in hospital with COVID, but 5 of those were admitted because of COVID. But so far everybody's been dealt with successfully, and obviously I don't want to treat this lightly. My thoughts with everybody in hospital, but so far it's been a very successful management of people going into hospital with COVID. And we need to consider how we continue to push forward into the future, given that Omicron appears to be less impactful than the Delta variant.
But just on that though, I mean, in terms of this Chamber survey, how likely are we to see the removal of what they're asking for in the short term? Or, essentially what I'm trying to say is what's the crystal ball saying? How far is government able to look ahead?
Well, we need to consider, and we are considering, we're actively now thinking about what our strategy looks like over the next few months, and potentially how we move the island forward to much closer position to what might be regarded as normality. We will be considering that. I think it's important that, as I say, we continue to see a decline in numbers in isolation, and that we don't get complacent about COVID. This story has had a number of twists in the tail over the last couple of years. One hopes that indeed that this is the beginning of the end in terms of the virus. If it continues to mutate, it carries on mutating into much weaker forms, and we need to plan therefore accordingly. And we will do that now in the next 10 days, 2 weeks, and I expect that by the end of January we will be updating Tynwald and the island as to what our plans are to move forward again, take the next steps forward.
You said that, and particularly sort of people have noticed that since back end of last year, moving to this year, moved first on the LFTs as for both isolation and release than the UK did. We sort of got ahead of them a little bit on a few things. So would you move before the UK does on ending things like isolation for positive cases, or for testing in the way that we have been?
I think that whilst I'm pleased with the strategy that we engaged Christmas, we're not in a race, and I don't think we should get sucked into a race. I think it's important that we do exit in a controlled manner. We take a lot of factors into consideration. Going back to the business survey, because it's not surprising that so many businesses fed back their desire to see the ending of isolation and scrapping of testing. I think that's entirely understandable, and a lot of people across the island who share that sentiment, but we've also got to take a responsible view, and I think it's important that we do exit this in a relatively controlled manner, on the basis that there are still people going to hospital, and a sudden turn or twist in, as I said, in the COVID impact could cause pause for reflection. So I just want to make sure that everything is happening pretty much as we expect it to now over the next 10 days or so.
And I think part of this winter has been the booster campaign, which started off with the most vulnerable people and then rolled out to everybody else. There's a lot of walk-in centres. Have you been sort of surprised at the number of people who did take up that offer so quickly?
Look, I've been really broadly very pleased the way the public have responded to the whole change of emphasis and the way that we've structured our COVID management. The public have been hugely responsible, the vast majority of the public hugely responsible, and I think there is general public recognition now from everybody that the vaccines have worked. They have been, they have caused us to get to the current position, and we now need to determine what the sort of scientific advice is regarding vaccines in the future. But no, the public reaction has been fantastic. If I'm perfectly honest, I think the figures are dropping off a bit on the boosters. I encourage people to still stay on top of their booster vaccines if they haven't had it. But 70% or so of the eligible population have now had their boosters.
And just finally, it's January and the budget's coming up next month. For the past 5 years, you've been the man to stand up and deliver the budget. Are you feeling a little bit different this year in terms of you not having the ministers coming to your door going, I've got an idea, we've got this, now you should really give us this money? Is it a different feeling for you this year going into it?
Well, clearly, changing roles. The big focus for me has to be coordinate and get the island plan ready to deliver to Tynwald. So I haven't had a lot of chance necessarily to think about what David Ashford will be going through. But look, I'm confident he will be delivering a solid foundations in his budget to reflect both the island plan, but to reflect the position and pressures that we're all feeling at the moment, both as a result of COVID, but also general economic circumstances. That budgetary position is going to evolve very much again over the next 6-8 months or so. And I think by the time we get into later this year and early next year, I think we will be shaping that, and the Treasury Minister will be looking to shape that to move the island forward even more dynamically than where we are at the current time.
Thank you.